a collaborative project by Rainbow Lobster Activista and Sonoro. This episode contains violence and depicts disturbing scenes involving mistreated children. Listener discretion is advised. Voice performances are dramatizations based on real testimonies. Torreon, Coahuila, 2009.
It's midday. Several kids are chasing each other playing cops and rats in a tiny courtyard several meters underground in a subterranean orphanage. This is the only space where sunlight bounces in. Kids of different ages make the most of their last minutes before having to go back inside. Among them is a skinny 8-year-old they call Tacita.
Estábamos subterráneos.
Well, we were underground. It wasn't like something simple, there's a nice little wall. No, it wasn't like that. We were in a pit. So no, we couldn't see the light, 100%. We didn't go out. Or they would take us out to the yard for about 20 minutes, but just to do exercise. Or it wasn't really exercise, it was harassment.
Harassment. Suddenly, the courtyard door opens, and from the darkness, the guards drag in a boy, beating him as they go. It takes Tacita time to recognize him, but it's his friend, Tavo. Tavo, the shy one. The one who, during the 2 years he's been in this place, has always been the target of everyone's teasing.
He was a good guy. I mean, a good kid. Because we were just kids, you know?
He had never gotten into trouble with the guards until the day he snapped.
Because I think he threw a glass of water at the guard in his face. They gave him a horrible beating. They locked him in a room. They left him there for a week.
When everyone sees how skinny and beaten up Tavo is, Tacita and the rest of the kids freeze, watching, as he can't even walk anymore. He looked more like a ragdoll than a child.
He was already so thin, he was falling apart, and they kept beating him over and over and over and over. And he was almost completely dehydrated and everything. He hadn't eaten.
The guards hit him with the same force they would use on an adult.
All of a sudden, he couldn't take the last blow they gave him, and he just collapsed, and there he lay.
Tavo, exhausted, gives up.
And there he lay.
There he lay, a 10-year-old boy, beaten to death over a trivial act of defiance. Murdered in front of Tacita and all the children in the orphanage who remain frozen in terror. Because even though they all know this place is hell and the guards are heartless beasts, until that moment, none of them had imagined that upsetting a guard could cost them their life.
Me miro al espejo, me lavo la cara, ya no siento miedo porque aquí se acaba. Cuento yo los días, es el mismo infierno. Desde morro vieron como no me dejo, cargando yo el fierro pa' vengar las vidas. Desde el barrio salgo pa' ganar la lana que yo no tenía, ni pa' la comida, lejos de familia, yeah.
Rainbow Lobster presents the Narco Season 1, Live Iron for Iron. Episode 1, The Underground.
Y si me muero que sepan que no tengo miedo. Me intenté salir pero aquí seguimos. El respeto yo ya me lo he ganado, pa' que sepan que nunca me he rajado.
I am Pana Arrechedera. I make documentaries, I'm a creative, I write, and I like to find stories that make people reflect. In 2021, the NGO Reinserta, which transforms the lives of children and adolescents marked by violence, conducted a study to bring to light a reality that wasn't being discussed in Mexico. The era when cartels respected women and children had ended. The Narcos was recruiting children every day to turn them into soldiers of war. This wasn't just one of the consequences of thousands of families affected by violence and drugs. It was often the very source of that violence. That year, my activist friends Mercedes Castañeda and Saskia Niño de Rivera, with whom I now produce a podcast called Penitencia, called me. They both founded Reinserta and invited me to collaborate with the organization to help spread awareness of the study conducted across several states in the country. That's when I started getting more and more involved in this subject. I began to have access to first-hand accounts, listening to recordings and interviews with over 60 children who had literally been used by organized crime. Among all the stories I heard, there was one in particular that will keep me thinking for months. A story that later I would follow for 2 more years, about a boy who was serving time in a juvenile center in Coahuila, northern Mexico.
Entonces, ¿qué día es hoy, Tacita?
¿Qué día es hoy?
¿Qué día es hoy?
Okay, we can start. So, what day is today, Tacita?
What day is today?
Yeah, what day is today?
Today is December 15th, 2020.
The story of Tacita.
And it's 3:35.
A boy who, on one hand, hated the Narcos because they had literally destroyed his family.
And I was in places that weren't pleasant at all.
Someone who cared about the people in his neighborhood and showed an enormous desire to rebuild his life.
¿Qué vas a hacer afuera?
What are you going to do on the outside? Do you have any plans? Are you going anywhere?
Es que él lucha por...
It's because a lot of plans crossed my mind. A lot of positive and negative ideas. The positive ones, well, I had an opportunity to leave. And during that time, my partner got pregnant. I don't know my daughter, just from a picture. But I want to look for her through the sky, the sea, the land.
And at the same time, a hitman who still wanted revenge for what had happened to his family.
La negativa es salir y...
The negative one is going out and looking for those responsible for my brother's death.
Are you talking about revenge? What would you do to them?
This last part, which isn't heard so clearly, is that he was going to do to them the same thing that was done to his brother. Because even though he avoided organized crime for years, he learned to shoot the very day they offered him precisely that chance to take revenge on the Narcos who had destroyed his family when he was barely 6 years old. Tacita survived torture in a clandestine orphanage, learned to survive on the streets eating from scraps, always with a survival instinct that made him defy the odds.
Por dentro estoy triste, estoy...
Inside, I'm sad. I am broken.